Hello bachon, let's read the question. So the question says, in a single slit diffraction experiment, when a tiny circular obstacle is placed in the path of light from a distant source, a bright spot is seen at the center of shadow of the obstacle. Explain why and state 2 points of difference between the interference pattern obtained in Young's double slit experiment and the diffraction pattern due to a single slit. So let us first revise the key concept behind this question. So the key concepts behind this question are: first is diffraction. So what is diffraction? It is the phenomenon which is caused when light strikes a tiny particle, and when it strikes the edges of tiny particle, it undergoes constructive as well as destructive interference. And the second key concept is again constructive interference, which I told you earlier. Constructive interference. So, what is constructive interference? It when the light strikes a tiny particle, when diffraction happens, the due to wave nature of light, the waves get concise at some points. Let's suppose these are the points where the wave is consisted. They get together and form a constructive point, and this is caused by the phenomenon called constructive interference. And between these gaps is destructive interference. So let's write them here. Okay, so now let us jump right into our solution. So for solution part, what do we have? We need to explain why the light we see a central white spot at the shadow of the obstacle. So when we have an obstacle like this and light strikes it, then if we obtain the image of the shadow in a screen, then there is a central white spot at the center of shadow. This is due to the constructive interference itself, because the tiny particle diffracts light into constituent waves, which then undergoes constructive interference to form a central white spot at the center of shadow of the obstacle. As the reason is constructive interference. Now, in the second part, we have to state 2 points of difference between the interference pattern obtained in Young's double slit experiment and the diffraction pattern due to a single slit. So, let's write it here. This is Young's double slit experiment, and this side we write single slit experiment. So, the first difference between them is that all of the bright fringes are of equal intensity in Young's double slit experiment. So, we can write that intensity of bright fringes is equal, and in single slit experiment the intensity keeps on decreasing as we increase the order of bright fringes. Hence intensity of bright fringes is not equal. And the second difference between them is the fringe width of all the fringes in Young's double slit experiment is also equal. Hence, fringe width is constant, and in single slit experiment, the fringe width of the central maxima is the maximum, and then it keeps on decreasing as we increase the order of the fringes. Hence, fringe width is not constant. So these are the two points of differences between Young's double slit experiment and single slit experiment. I hope you understood it well. Thank you.